Welcome, everyone, to the Spring 2018 Digital Learning Community Question and Answer session, streaming live on YouTube. Today, we will share information with you on behalf of a broad array of district teams who provide school site support to digital learning schools. I'm Marielle Milano, Director for Digital Curriculum, and I will be providing this session. Moderating this session will be Terry Pettit from the Instructional Systems team. If you're worried that this session might not be for you, don't be. This session is for any parent, student, or community member who has an interest in digital learning next year at their school. All of the schools on this chart are digital learning schools, part of the LaunchED digital learning program. OCPS is committed to providing you just what you need, just in time. This session is the first of 3 sessions designed to help families transition to digital learning. If you were not able to attend any of the Parent Academy sessions in the spring, which focused on the why of digital learning, a recording of those sessions will be posted on your school's social media sites such as Twitter or Facebook. Today's session is focusing on what for digital learning, specifically what will change for your child next year. After today's session, you will be able to understand what digital learning is and be able to identify the changes it will bring for your family. So let's get started. We're going to discuss what digital learning is, what the goals for digital learning are, what changes you can expect as a parent, and what you can do to help prepare your family now. Throughout the session, we encourage you to exit the full screen mode and post any questions that you have in the chat box. We'll do our best to answer them in real time, and we'll also stop periodically to address questions. So let's start with what digital learning is. The state of Florida has a definition for digital learning, and that definition includes high-quality content in a digital format, as well as online courses, personalized digital learning, a means for your student to show what they know with digital, high-quality content and instructional materials in a digital format, and online and blended courses. Most importantly, it includes digital tools for creation, collaboration, and communication in the classroom. Our district has 5 goals to help us meet the state of Florida's definition for digital learning. These goals include all students being prepared for the next generation of curriculum instruction with the resources and tools they need to reach the full depth of the Florida standards and close achievement gaps. All of our staff, both instructional and administrative, being prepared to be able to provide that next generation of instruction and assessment using integrated technology and digital tools. And safeties are always our top priority. So all of our staff and students demonstrating digital literacy in a secure learning and working environment. You can't have great digital curriculum without robust infrastructure. So another one of our goals is that all of our schools are ready to support that next generation of curriculum and instruction. And finally, that folks like you, all of our community members, have the knowledge and skills that they need to support student achievement in a digital world. These goals will require a change in the way the district does business in many areas. And as a result, parents may see changes in things like the classroom environment, classroom curriculum, classroom instruction, and even the way you connect with school from home. The classroom environment will change dramatically from the way it is this year as we launch students into future ready learning. Next year, you'll notice that the classroom instructional model will be different, as well as the physical classroom technology and equipment, how the classroom is organized, how the teacher manages the classroom, and even the classroom procedures. First, let's talk about the changes to the classroom's instructional model. You're probably wondering how often your students are going to use technology. And the short answer is they're going to use it in almost everything they do. Students are going to use technology to support learning in whole group, small group, and individual instruction, facilitated by an in person teacher. This is called blended learning because it involves a blend of face to face instruction enhanced by the use of technology in a traditional school. It is not virtual learning. So your students will continue to be taught by an in person teacher and attend school in a physical building. Whenever people hear blended learning, they think paperless. But our program doesn't mean that students will never use paper again. But many of our classrooms use an overabundance of paper in instruction today. The blended model moves classrooms from paper full to paper purposed. Most students will use paper only when that functionality is not available in an electronic or digital format, or when it's developmentally more appropriate for them to use paper. In addition, to enable blended instruction, the district has funded some exciting changes to classroom technology. Let's check them out. As we speak, instructional technology and facilities are in the process of enhancing the classrooms your children sit in every day. Some of the changes you can expect to see next year include things like overhead projectors being replaced by document cameras that project any document onto the screen for viewing. And whiteboards that you used to write on with dry erase markers are a thing of the past. They're being replaced by interactive flat panels that display the lesson content for the teacher and encourage our students to come up and engage directly with the curriculum. But the most dramatic change is that all of the shared desktop stations are going to be gone, and students will be provided with a laptop device from which their instructional material will be provided. The laptop your child will get will be a Windows 10 touchscreen convertible laptop equipped with a front and rear facing camera, speakers, and my favorite, convertible keyboards. Having interactive technology in all the areas of the classroom is going to allow your students to be much more mobile. Over the next couple years, you'll see that our teachers will move out of traditional rows and into collaborative and interactive small groups where your child can get just what they need just in time. I'm a parent of a middle schooler as well. And as a parent, it's important to remember that with all of the movement, students aren't going to be sitting at a single desk all the time. And they'll need a fully charged device to take advantage of the day. Students should plan to charge their device overnight, as there are limited outlets available at school for emergency use when they have their charger with them. When you visit a classroom beginning next year, you'll also notice some changes to classroom procedures. For example, when you enter most classrooms now, there is work or assignments on the board ready for students to view. But in the future, students will find the same work in Canvas. That's our new learning management system. The benefit to this is that students can engage in online polls and surveys, and even engage in collaborative discussion with their teachers and peers. That helps the teacher get a better sense of where the students are at the start of class and how they should begin their lesson. Now, everyone on this call has seen a teacher up and walking around the room to make sure that their students are doing what they're supposed to do and on task. Don't worry, this won't change. Teachers being up and at 'em is always a good practice. But in addition to walking around the room, you'll see teachers using their laptop in tablet mode, like you see on the screen, to make sure that students are supervised online as well. We use a classroom management system that allows teachers to see in real time what students are doing in every device and take control of that device if needed. Okay, we're going to stop for our first question break. Please exit your full screen view if you're in full screen view, and then you're going to be able to type your questions in the chat box in real time. I'll give you about 30 seconds to be able to type your questions in before I start. Okay, what questions do you have? Remember, no question is too large or too small. We want to make sure that you leave today feeling as confident as possible about the transition to digital learning. I don't see any questions yet, so I'm going to keep moving. The classroom environment is not the only thing that's going to change. There's going to be changes to the curriculum too. The most obvious of those changes is going to be to your child's instructional materials or textbooks. Now, many children have very heavy backpacks today, from binders and notebooks and all sorts of things. But next year, students aren't going to be required to carry any books home. They're instead going to have access to an electronic copy of their digital textbook that they can access anytime, anywhere. Now, you might be thinking, well, we have some of that today, and that's true. But you don't necessarily have a device that every student can use to do that in real time. So now they'll have a laptop that allows them to get that as well. Reading online textbooks is one of the many new skills that students will need to learn. In the past, students have learned to be literate in traditional subject areas like science, mathematics, reading, and social studies. But in the future, students must be also literate in digital literacy. Don't worry, this isn't a new class students have to take, but rather skills they pick up with their existing classes, such as how to be responsible online, how to use digital tools, and how to access all of the information they need on the web. All right, you may have thought of some questions by now, so I'm going to pause again and give you a few seconds to post your questions in the chat box. Remember to exit full screen view and type any question you have about digital learning in the chat box for us to answer. All right, let's check in and see if there are any questions. I don't see any. You guys are super quiet tonight. Our other groups have had a ton of questions. Are you sure you don't have any questions about what we're going to cover? Oh, here's our first one. Are classrooms and tables set up with power strips? And how will laptops be able to be used all day off of a single battery charge? That's a great question. If laptops are charged overnight, we have batteries that should last a full school day. However, each of our classrooms also does have power strips for a limited number of computers. It would be impossible for 30 students to be charging in every classroom in every period, but we definitely have enough chargers to make sure that if students run low, they can juice up. In addition, many of our schools have charging stations in places like the media center and lunchroom, or even the locker room for before and after school, so students can always get the power they need. Thanks for asking, Adrian. Do you have any more questions? Okay, we'll go ahead and keep moving, and in a few moments, we'll stop again for questions. Our next section is on the changes parents can expect to see in classroom instruction. Let's first think about how students will use and access the internet. Students will start using online applications as part of their learning experience on the very first day of school. Things like Gmail, Calendar, Google Drive, and all of the Google apps will be tools that they use to collaborate and complete their assignments. They will also begin to use Canvas and other OCPS systems that provide educational content. To support our students, all of our schools have been updated to have wireless internet access in all instructional areas. Our students' safety is always our top priority, and internet filtering and security settings on the student's device and on their account are set to be in compliance with the Children Internet Protection Act regulations. Students are prevented from accessing applications and websites that are not on an approved list or in an approved category, and all internet activity is logged and tracked based on the device user. Students are going to have access to many new tools, and it'll be important for parents to understand how that access will change what they see coming home in the backpack every day. Many of the materials we grew up with, like notebook paper, poster board, pencils, and markers, won't necessarily go away, but they'll have a digital alternative in the cloud. For example, students can take digital notes in Google Docs or create engaging presentations in Google Slides without ever touching traditional tools. The best part is you'll never have to worry about students losing their work because it's all accessible 24/7. Great digital tools give the students opportunities to create great digital products. Our hope is that students are going to be completing far fewer worksheets and really being able to show us what they know in more dynamic ways by creating products such as digital ebooks, infographics, e-newsletters, and even websites. The possibilities with digital learning are truly endless. So, if the classroom is going to be so different next year, do you think things like assessment will change too? If you answered yes, then you're probably right. You might have noticed that over the last few years, our state has transitioned a lot of its end of course exams to online assessments like the Florida Standards Assessment. This will continue, but at our district level, it may extend to things like classroom chapter tests and quizzes. The benefit to this as a parent is twofold. One, you and your student will be able to get their feedback on how they did, their grade, their comments in real time, instead of having to wait sometimes many days for a teacher to grade a test. In addition, you won't have to worry about only some test grades making it home to you as a parent. You'll have full visibility into everything they do. Okay, let's stop again for questions and see what other questions you might have. All right, what else have you guys thought of? This is your chance to get all of your worries put aside and be able to move forward knowing that digital learning will be safe and effective for your child. Think of your questions now. Okay, let's keep moving. If we see any questions in the chat box, we'll come back around. So, next year, some of the most important changes to you as a parent are going to occur in terms of how you interact with the school from home. Let's talk about how you're going to be able to review your students' planner, review your students' notes and work, how parent teacher communication is going to happen, how your students will do things like access textbooks and use the internet at home, and importantly, what's your responsibility for the device. This change you're going to notice on the very first day of school. You'll probably be cheering when you hear that students will not be issued a paper planner next year, but rather they're going to maintain a calendar in the Canvas Learning Management System, which you can access on the go. This is great news for parents because it will let you get the information you need right when you need it. I have a sixth grader, and I know that there's been many times that our planner's been misplaced, or something's been spilled on it, or they forget to write in it. All of this will be avoided with the Canvas Learning Management System. When a teacher inputs an assignment into the Canvas Learning Management System, let's say it says Frog Lab due Friday. That Friday due date is automatically going to show up on the calendar for parents. Teachers can post things like classwork, homework, events, field trips, or even reminders. In addition, parents can write events that are important to their child that the teacher won't be able to see. For example, things like soccer practice, transportation plans that you can see just between the parent and the student. You're also going to notice some changes to the school supply list this summer that I'm hoping are going to save you time and money. You should be asked to purchase fewer school supplies. Students are going to need far fewer, if any, binders, folders, and notebooks. They're going to keep all of their work in an online folder such as Google Drive and submit it through Canvas. In addition, it's going to be easier than ever for you to talk to your students' teachers through our district learning management system, Canvas. The Canvas Parent app enhances the potential for parents to engage in their child's education. Parents can review upcoming or past assignments, check on grades, and receive course announcements. You can get the Canvas Parent app on iOS, Android, or Windows 10 mobile phones. You can also check Canvas through your Chrome web browser on any computer. The Canvas Parent app setting allows parents to set alerts for specific assignments and grades. Alerts are displayed in the Alerts tab on the page. So, would you like to know each time that your child scores below a 70% so that you can make sure they get the support they need? Or maybe you want to see every time they got over a 90 so you can celebrate success. Or perhaps missing assignments are an issue for your child and you want to be alerted anytime a missing assignment comes in. All of that and more is possible via Canvas. But maybe you don't want phone calls home. Maybe you're the kind of parent that texts more than you talk, like me. Well, if that's you, you're in luck. In Canvas, you can add contact methods to receive notifications. Contact methods allow you to select how you want to be notified when various events occur in the child's course. Notifications apply to all of your child's courses, and you can choose to get things through email, text message, or even through Twitter. Pretty cool, huh? Now, you might be thinking, what happens if I don't have internet at home to complete homework assignments? Well, I want you to know that our board policy prohibits students from being penalized if they can't complete assignments at home due to lack of internet. But we also know and recognize the value of students extending their learning beyond the school day and accessing internet using the laptop that we're going to send home with them every day. Students keep their laptops overnight through fall break, winter break, and spring break and return them at the end of the year. Anytime your child is outside of school and accesses the internet, they get pushed back onto our network no matter where they are: Starbucks, McDonald's, the airport, or even a cruise ship. Here's an example of how that works. Let's say in your home, your internet settings allow for the people in your home to get to things like Facebook and Twitter. Well, when your child tries to go to those things at your house, even though they're on your internet, they still won't be able to go there because they're pushed back onto our network with our settings, no matter where they are. So maybe you're out and about and don't have internet readily available, soccer practice, out to dinner, whatever the case is. Well, we provide a map of free community Wi Fi on our website, digital.ocps.net, for all of our students. And we recognize that not all families have internet access at home. If this is you or somebody that you know, please be aware that we're happy to provide hotspots with 2 gigs of data monthly to any qualifying family at no cost through the T-Mobile EmpowerED program. Each of your children will be assigned a laptop at the beginning of the school year. Even though this device goes home every night, it's still the property of Orange County Public Schools. Because laptops can be costly to repair and replace, we ask that parents and family members encourage your student and any other household members, like younger siblings, to maintain proper handling and care of that device. You might want to consider establishing guidelines for how that device is used, how you want students to use your applications, the internet, and other features while they're in your home. And together, you can acclimate to this new adventure of digital literacy in a safe manner. If the device is ever lost or damaged, it's really important that the parent and student report the incident to OCPS right away. For damages, notify the teacher or dean at your child's school immediately. If your device is lost or stolen, you should immediately contact the tech hotline at 407-317-3290. Worried you won't remember that number? It's etched on the lid of every device, just in case somebody walks up and sees the device that they don't know who it belongs to and wants to return it. OCPS works closely with local police agencies to recover any devices that OCPS deems stolen. We ask that parents help us to coordinate with their local law enforcement to report a device stolen as soon as possible. Students are charged a fine if a device is damaged or if they don't return it at the end of the school year when they're asked. This is no different than what we used to do with textbooks, library books, musical equipment, sports equipment, or any other OCPS asset that a student brought home. This now applies to laptops as well. No matter whose fault it is for the damage or missing device, the fine is more like a deductible than anything else. Fines are outlined every year in the Family Technology Handbook. And the Family Technology Handbook can be found today at digital.ocps.net under the Students and Parents tab. Okay, we're going to go ahead and stop for questions since most parents have questions around asset management. If you have any questions, remember to exit the full screen and type them in the chat box. Okay, let's see what questions you guys have. Any questions about fines, fees, reviewing your students' work, or anything else that might be on your mind? All right, I'll keep going. So right now you're probably wondering, with all of these changes happening, what can I do to help my family prepare? Well, the first thing that you need to do is plan to attend the open house at your child's school. This open house is going to be held after July 23rd. You'll receive an invitation in the mail to the open house through social media, through email if you have one on file, and also through phone and text message if those numbers are working for OCPS. At that open house, you're going to be able to check your student's planner, learn how to check your student's planner, how to communicate with your child's teacher, how to help your student with online homework, how the school and family are held responsible for the device, and how to give permission for things that your students need to do, like have their photo or video taken, or have their directory information released if they win an award. So you'll want to make sure that you make time to attend that. In the meantime, we recommend that you have a good old-fashioned family meeting with your family. During that meeting, we recommend that you discuss your expectations for limits and consequences using the device in your home. For example, you may want to set limits for your student around downloading media, visiting certain video sites, using personal social media, gaming, using the computer to use video, voice, or text chatting, and of course, sharing their private information. You may even want to set some limits on screen time, like you can only use your laptop for 1 hour a day after school. Then you're going to want to discuss the care and responsibility for the device. So, for example, where's the device going to be stored? Do you have young children at home? Do you need to make sure that you have the device stored in a high location, like on top of a refrigerator, or that the wires or cords are out of the prying hands of toddlers or pets? All of those things are things you're going to want to start talking about early and often. But remember, as a parent, you're in control of what happens in your home. We recommend that you have your child store their device in a common area, such as a kitchen, family room, or living room. We do not recommend that students charge or store their devices in their bedroom overnight. That's all the information I have to share with you today, but I'd like to give you a chance to ask some more questions. It's really important to me that you have an opportunity to get all of your questions answered before we leave. So go ahead and think of any remaining questions that you have and put them in the chat box for me. Remember, to put them in the chat box, you have to exit full screen mode. Okay, what questions do you all have? Any questions about student devices, how students are going to use their device, what lessons will be like in the classroom, or device issues? Well, you guys are the quietest group we've had all week, but I bet that that's just because you're super hungry for dinner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post my information in the chat box for you. And I'm also going to post my email address there. And if you have any questions at all about the transition to digital learning or what that means for your child or their family, then you can contact me or your school administrator with those questions. After today's session ends, this video will automatically be recorded and repopulate right here on the screen for you. And then links to this video and the other sessions we did earlier this week will be shared with your principals to post on social media or any of the other sites that they see fit. One last chance to answer questions before we sign up. Adrian, anything else? Okay, guys. Well, if there are no other questions, I'll thank you for joining us, and I really appreciate your time. Everyone, let's thank Terry for being a great moderator. You certainly made his job easy peasy lemon squeezy.